again, this is what I call, what we talk about, knockoff. You call it the hammer.
I call it the ram. Call it the ram. Me and Phil been going back and forth about this, the knockoff. We're going to call it the knockoff. I mean,
listen.
Because yeah, a lot of, and I watch a lot of YouTube, and any way I can find, different ways to learn film. Phil gives us the NBA terms, which I appreciate. So, several teams you've been on, y'all call it the knockoff. A lot of people call that the ram, where you see Luke Cornett set this down screen, and what it does is it brings the man that he's setting that down screen on to set a screen on OG right here.
Yeah, and that's primarily, Jay, what you'll find a lot of colleges use the term ram.
Okay,
Some people maybe in Europe, in the league, most times your people will call it a knockoff. So again, Luke is going to go try to knock Jalen Brunson off and give him some separation, right? You see how you see the separation? See the separation he has? And now watch what young fella does. Comes up, and then he flips the screen, okay? He's going to flip the screen, but what I want you guys to watch, I want you to watch Luke, subtle. Right? I want you to watch his movements along the baseline, because this is why he gets the offensive rebound, and him and Jalen are working together. Jalen comes off, they get the switch, right? Yeah. So watch what Luke does. What does he do? Because knowing, hey, let me give Jalen his what? Let me give him his strong hand, right? Now look where Jalen's able to attack, because there's nobody on the baseline. This is where the game within the game comes in, right? Recognizing how Luke says, let me move along the baseline and give Jalen all this open space. See how he gets flat? And now watch what Robinson does. Robinson's going to track the shot, and look what Luke does. Right behind. We always say when bigs go to block shots, this is why we talk about dunker spacing, right? We want our bigs to play in the dunker, because you can be in great position for offensive rebounding.
For sure.
Right? Robinson goes to block. Look what Luke does. He don't stand. You go, I'm going to go. Now there's nobody there. I'm going to get on the glass, okay? So, again, these are small things break down, right? Robinson goes. You want to talk about having your defense tied together. Mikal should be right behind to where he can what? We call it crack back. He should be ready to crack back for Robinson to protect and knock Luke off the glass, but he's not there. You see how he comes?
Because a lot of times the dunker spot doesn't really know, when to move. Do you have that eye signal between me and Jay? Or because I feel like it's very interesting that Luke, went to the other side to let him get his strong hand. Well, so when you're on the dunker, how do you determine those things? Just knowing your personnel and what your player, what Jaylen Brown likes to do?
More core orientation, right? So he knows his teammate, KYP. Know your personnel, know your teammate. Jaylen Brown is what? Strong right-hand driver, right? So Luke recognizes it. So where's the court orientation? Look what Boston does. They have great spacing. You got a shooter. Where is he? 4-point line extended. You got Pritchard, another shooter in the corner, and then you have young fella, another shooter space. And Cornette says, just let me open up the floor. So look at all the space that Jalen has, right? OG can't really help because he's what? He's kind of occupied. Look where he goes, right? He's worried about the shooter. He opens up, and that just gives Jaylen Brown all his space. So understanding where to move with your teammate, playing together. This is just, again, simple, but it's a game within the game of understanding. Let Jaylen get two. Now, Luke could have stayed where? He could have stayed here.
Yeah, because most times the dunker
he
spot
stayed here.
stays.
Now, if Luke would have stayed there, here's a small, subtle thing. I want you guys to look at Pritchard. We talk about deep corner spacing, right? Look how high Pritchard is. This 1 or 2 feet matters. Pritchard, get deep in the corner, because now that's going to make it hard for Bridges. If Jaylen Brown does decide to drive in this gap here, it's going to make it hard for Bridges to do what?
Yep.
Show. If he shows, you get a corner kick, right? So this is where court spacing, your alignment, opening up the floor is really, really important.
Yeah.